This is a key topic for some people to hear, because if they understand the central premise of this video, they will either find themselves no longer trapped at a lower rank and as a result able to climb, be promoted, or they'll realise they aren't as good as they imagined they were, and thus potentially from there they can learn and improve. Because as I say in the title, you aren't playing better if you're trapped. As in, if you think you're stuck in elo hell, you're at a lower rank than you should be, or when you play, you perceive that the players in your rank are at your level based on MMR, they're worse than you, they don't understand the game as well as you, that should be a big red flag. The idea that you think they are much worse than you, but they're in the same level as you, should be a big red flag that you might be suffering from the issue that this video addresses. Now, this isn't a video about elo hell specifically, I've done those in the past, but it's about how you remain trapped there through your own behaviour and the plays you choose to make, not primarily the mistakes and poor play of others. Certainly that can contribute towards it, but that evens out over time. If you ignore your own play and you don't take responsibility, then you will forever be trapped in this condition, whether at that level or not. Because think about it logically. If the players who play with you and against you are playing poorly and you make what you think are good players or better players than them, why do you find yourself unrewarded? I mean, if you're rewarded, if you're getting kills, if you're snowballing the game, if you're getting the items, then at that point in time, you are unable to close out games, apparently. It can't always be your teammates. But if in the game you're not getting the kill, you go for what you think's a brilliant play and you're just that much off getting the kill. Or you make what you think's a genius move, they don't follow you up, they don't peel for you, you lose the game. Oh, they didn't reward me. Why didn't the game reward me? The game's telling you something. Listen to the game. The game's saying, I don't reward that with this type of teammate or that type of opposition. That was not the best play or a better play for this level, for these teammates, or for that opposition. Some of these variables are what the game is telling you, what reality is telling you. Denial of this will imprison you in a worse way than any bad teammate will. Because the teammates cycle out, they change, they're different in each game. You're the same each time. A pro level player, let's imagine you're one of these people who watches LCS, you watch pro streamers, you watch people much higher ranked than you. You watch them, right? And you see the amazing moves they make, the sick outplays, you see some of the little hacks they do in the game where they know to do this at this level, or do that. And you go and you try and make these plays, you make these moves yourself in the game because you think, I watch the game, I know more than these guys at my level, I'm actually better than them. The game just needs to get in line and put me at the rank that I'm at. So you go and you attempt to make a pro level play at a lower level. Got news for you. That's often not going to be the best play for that level. It's the best at a pro level, perhaps. It's a better play at a pro level. It's an outplay at a pro level. But you know what? At a pro level, you have pro teammates. They follow up correctly. They peel for you. They understand what to do at a certain point in time. They understand how to block for you if they're a tank, etc. At a pro level, your opponent is pro. He plays correctly for that player to work, because your plays are a result of your understanding of the metagame, however loosely defined or understood that may be, from playing against other people, from understanding things about the game, what they understand about the game. These are all things that factor into the equation of if the play is better and if it actually works. So trying the same play that the pro makes, but at a lower level, doesn't make you secretly a pro or really good. It actually makes you a poser. You're pretending to be something you aren't, something you may not even actually fully understand because you don't understand apparently the teammates and the team scenario and the metagame situation from which that person made that play. It makes you appropriate to the level you're at now. The game has correctly determined that you're someone who tries pro players, but in a totally inappropriate setting where they don't work, or you try things that are way above maybe your execution level. You knew what you were trying to do, but you couldn't quite get it. That's why you were a little fraction off killing the guy. You fucked up one auto attack. You didn't quite combo the abilities correctly. You didn't do your flash ultimate in the right way, so you messed it up, or you hit a wall, or you didn't get quite like the auto spacing, etc. There's a million factors. If any of these factors fail, you must put the responsibility on yourself. You cannot then say, but 95% of what I did was great and was a pro play, and if this guy had done even more, why would you assume anything of him? Why would you assume he would understand a pro player or could do something that could aid a player way above the level that you imagine you're at? This is the problem with the thinking. So be responsible. If you see your teammate doesn't follow up on an attack or doesn't correctly help or doesn't peel for you, stop making plays that require him to follow up, that require him to correctly help, that require him to peel for you. That is not how you're going to climb if you are being told by the game over and over again that that does not work. It is not rewarded at this level. You can say all day long, but it should be, and I should have. You know what? The top pros and the really good players don't need to say all that and then climb up. Like, if they were making mad outplays, they either would climb or they'd make the outplays appropriate to that level and climb. That's why they're not stuck in your elo. There's no top pro player who ever got just in the worst ever MMR right at gold and just could never get out again. They all get out every single time, essentially, with rare exceptions of maybe they could hit a really crazy streak. And even then, they're inevitably going to get out eventually. So not only do you ignore the things that the game is telling you aren't rewarded, find the plays appropriate to your level of teammate and opposition. So I'll give you two key examples of other areas of life, other disciplines I've seen this behaviour in, this behaviour of the delusional person. Imagine it's everyone else and he's making next level plays that just don't get rewarded by the game. And if you understand some of these, maybe it will elucidate this issue further if you're getting lost in the mire of the specific league example, or it's too personal for you. You're thinking too much about your own game and how he doesn't know what my teammates were like and that guy was such an idiot and it should have worked, but the Shaco just got lucky. One of them's poker. Poker is famous for bad beat stories that nobody wants to hear, because every bad beat story is so editorialized so that you're the hero who did everything right and it shouldn't have happened to you, and the other guy's an idiot and it's just luck, and you never hear the story. And then, of course, I got lucky and drew a flush in a scenario where he had me dead to rights with two pairs. Like, you never hear that story later because, again, it's biased. So in poker, right, people, again, watch top-level players. They read books. They watch TV shows. And then they'll go in there and they'll play at some low ranks, low tiers, low, stakes, and they'll start trying to make next-level fucking Tom Dwan bluffs that are supposed to be, the game within the game, super, intense, with, the mind war level bluffs, versus bad players who don't even know what they're doing, don't even know it's a bluff, and as a result of calling it, thinking, I didn't even know it was supposed to be, was that supposed to be a bluff? Was it a play? I have three of a kind, so I'm calling. Look on the board, I have three of a kind. They don't know. So as a result, you try to make these next level plays versus either bad players or at lower tiers. And guess what? They're not going to work because those players are next level because of the level that they're at. They're at the next level. You're not at the next level yet. So why are you making next level plays? So what happens is when the person loses in this scenario in poker, they will lose rage at the person who they were playing against, that they've done the wrong thing, that wasn't right, it isn't the way the game is supposed to go, even though the person they're playing against won, beat them. Actually, in this scenario, was rewarded by the game. Now listen, there's a lot more luck and variance in poker. The reason I bring the poker example up is because you can't control the luck and variance. It's irrelevant to think about it and be outcome orientated in that regard. What you should do instead is just try to make the correct plays for the situations you're in and know that in the long run, those will lead to you winning more than you lose. So this is a key point to understand, is think about it. You're blaming the opponent for doing something which succeeded against you at the level you're both at, while you failed because of the action you took, and yet you're blaming them for not letting you win. What on earth are you talking about? Think about the scenario you put yourself in. Do you see the prison of delusion that you've created that traps you in? He's not trapped. He just made a play which is fine. And you know what? Maybe this is his level. He's just making plays at that level. The other example would be from StarCraft 2, because there is an infamous player who basically embodied this mentality and never could get over it because of his arrogance and hubris. And it was the American player Idra, American Zerg player in StarCraft 2 and Terran player in Brood War. What he would do was, he would make a play that doesn't work in the game, that loses in the game against the opponent he's against, or at the level of play he's at, like an NA tournament, and then he would act like the play he made was so much better and was so much more correct and is the right way to play the game and is god tier and would work against the best players in the world. So therefore his opponent, by not falling for it or it not working, not even understanding what reaction a normal top pro would do against it, when it then works for the opponent and doesn't work for him, he then says that they made the incorrect play, even though they beat him, And he rages at them and never addresses that he's playing inappropriate for the level he is at. To give you a very quick example, this is one of the reasons why a friend of mine who's a legendary CS in-game leader called Lurpis, Tommy Covenani, now works for Immortals Gaming Club, MIBR brand Immortals in League of Legends, in the sense of in a backroom position. Now, what he used to say was when he played qualifiers and open matches against teams he's never played against, not pro-level people, oftentimes, top teams, every now and then, will just get unlucky and just get beaten for seemingly no reason by a low-level team who won't then go on and do something in the tournament, and you think, what happened there? Well, the problem is oftentimes you're playing pro-level tactics and metagame against people who aren't pro-level and don't honour and don't respect the metagame that way. So what he would often do is when he played lesser opponents like this, he would play their kind of game and know that he could beat them because he's better than them. So he would say, for example, if we're just playing against a mixed team, a bunch of different players and not like an actual team, why don't we just pug, which is like we just play pickup style. We just play off our individual skills. We use our aim to beat them. We use our individual abilities. We don't rely on too much team play, too many tactics, things that could go wrong and be misexecuted against a level of opposition that's not playing correctly, not playing the right metagame. And he said that was way more effective for him when it came to playing these people. So the key thing, it's something I'll always return to as a central philosophy of mine in life and the game, is maybe it's not your fault that this guy's worse than you, that this teammate can't help. But it is your responsibility if you care about climbing up that elo. If you don't, then just chill there, have fun, don't worry about it, but don't complain. So if you want to climb, if you want to find your true level, you want to find the highest level you can get to, it's important to learn the skills necessary to succeed at that level. Not try and learn the skills necessary to be faker and to be a pro. That won't help you actually get out of the level you're in right now. That's like trying to learn advanced chords in music or how to use incredibly difficult elements of punctuation when you don't even know basic sentence structure. You don't know simple conjugation of verbs. You don't have even a basic vocabulary, and you're trying to make next level moves. How do you even know that you're pulling those next level moves off correctly when you don't know the fundamentals of the game? You don't know the basics of how to beat a silver player, a gold player, a plat player before you make what you think's the high diamond out player. So you aren't playing better than these people if you're trapped down there with them. Listen to the game. This video was kindly supported by Jack Hanna, Dean Tanglis, Soliko, Bobby, Spencer Green, Istar, WhattaThings, Xinged, Alexander Rao, Tobias Bernasconi, JDubs, the Puyallup Tribe, Jensen Goh, and of course, a special thanks goes out to my main man, Jerky's Minion. Would you like to suggest a topic or a guest for my content? Maybe you'd like to ask a question in one of those monthly video AMAs I do. Do you want teasers? See who the upcoming guests are for my work? Maybe you want to be part of one of those donator discussions with me each month. Well, if so, put your money where your mouth is and join the Scrilluminati today by the description box link to Patreon below.